Somebody try that green one. It looks so sweet it'll kill you. Yeah. I don't think so. It looks like it goes with that new thing that Starbucks is going to do for the next 4 days or so.
It's 6:05 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order of the City of El Paso Ethics Review Commission. Today is March 21, 2018. First item of business is the approval of the minutes from February 21, 2018. Hope everybody's had an opportunity to review them. And, we have a new member of the committee. Let's start there with Pete Brito. Would you tell us a little about yourself? That's great. And what do you do in the police department? Need to push the button if you would, Mr. Brito. Yeah, so it's green. There you go.
Yeah, I did everything.
In the police department.
I was a supervisor for 19 years.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad you're here and glad you were
Glad
appointed.
to be here.
And I hope you enjoy your experience as much as we have serving on this commission.
Just treat me with
Thank you for your
kids
time.
go out because I'm new at this thing. So
Well,
Bring donuts.
Don't-
We'll love you.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll go back to the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? So there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Next item is item 3, discussion and action regarding the rules of order. Mr. Marcus.
Yes, sir. Well, if you recall, in the last meeting, we were talking about adopting our own rules of order, separate from city council. And we were specifically talking about the call to the public and the ability for the public to speak before a commission. And so we were tasked with coming up with a draft of a final copy of rules of order for the Ethics Commission. And with Sylvia and Irma's help, we did that last week, and it's here. It's relatively self-explanatory. I don't know if anyone has any questions about it, if you had a chance to read through it.
And these are mimic the city council's rules of order or are different?
They're a little different. They're close. You know, I brought up the question about the difference between the call to the public and someone speaking to an agenda item. And I think, Sylvia, the city one actually separates those, don't they?
Right, well, yeah. In the call to the public, you cannot address anything that's on the agenda.
Right.
You have to wait for that item to come up on the agenda, and this would work the same way. And in fact, section 10 is the relevant section. So the first part starts with members of the public having an opportunity to be heard with regard to any matters that are being considered. So that's the part that would be things that are already on your agenda.
And for the record, this is section 10.
Section 10, right.
Right.
And then it still talks about time limitations, but then the new part is the last paragraph of section 10, where there's a blank. So the city council allows an hour or 60 minutes to be allowed for public comment. That every once in a while we have something controversial going on and they need to use the whole hour, but mostly they don't. They just do 3 minutes a person and never to go over an hour. If there are more people, they just take the hour and they divide it by the number of people that want to speak. So sometimes if you're watching, that's why they only get 2 minutes or 1 minute, because they try to keep the public comment just the hour. So this is pretty much the same, with except the blank for you all to decide, and then abbreviated. There's a lot more stuff in the city council rules of order that don't really apply. I think you want to keep it more simple here, I think. So we just kept it as simple
Okay.
as we could.
So there's a couple of, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No,
you.
go ahead.
Something else you want to
No,
present?
go ahead.
So on the last paragraph of section 10, we have a certain number of minutes that we are allocating for public comment, but there is no time restriction on any specific individual's right to speak during this portion. So in other words, you allocate 15 minutes and only one person wants to show up and speak. Do they get all 15 minutes, or is there a limitation on their right to?
The presiding officer can set the amount.
Okay.
If you, excuse me, if you had 10 people signed up to speak, you could just allot 3 minutes each, and it'd be 30 minutes.
Right.
But it would be at your discretion at every meeting.
Okay. Is that in this paragraph, or does that need to be?
We can put it there, see, the
What?
first paragraph of 10 says, provided that the time allowed for each citizen's appearance before the commission will be limited to fixed number of minutes at the discretion of the presiding officer. We could repeat that.
Or make it its own paragraph at the end of that section?
Move it, put it all at the very end.
Yeah, that's what I prefer.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, and then there was discussion at the last meeting about a whole group coming in and wanting to speak during this portion and restricting the comment from that group so that one person could be the spokesperson for the group and maybe give a little more time, but you wouldn't have 15 people speaking on the same topic for the same reasons. There's nothing included in here on that.
No. You could do that if you like. I will tell you that when the city council tried to do that, it was not, the public didn't like that notion.
Okay, and I'm just remembering
Yeah, we
based on
did
the minutes from last meeting that that's something we did discuss.
And I didn't catch that you all wanted it in it. Do you have a?
I didn't remember that either.
Yeah.
I think it's a good point, but how do you, they would all have to agree that one person's the spokesperson, that one person represents them. So, I mean, another way to handle that is say, okay, we give everybody a minute, or everybody 2 minutes, but if you have 15 people who walk in together, it doesn't mean they all want me to be their spokesperson.
Right, but I'm thinking more, not that these are individual people that are coming forward, but it's an organized group
If it's an organization, I think it's a lot easier.
that's coming forward and asking for time.
I know, I don't know anybody.
And maybe
wants to speak
we don't
for
need to worry about it. I just raised it because I know we raised it.
Irma's going to bring what's in the city council rules, and I'm sorry, I thought we had given y'all, everybody a set, but she's going to bring them so you can see, because it talks about that, but I will tell you, even when they're a group, and we've had it most recently, like with our MPC, you know, just,
Even if they're an organization?
they still get upset. It's like, no, I want to speak on my own, even though I'm part of this body, I still want my
And we can
minute or two.
limit that by saying each have a minute to speak.
Right, and that's an event, what happens, if you said there's only 30 minutes, and there's 30 people, everybody's only going to get
Yeah.
1 minute. But if some people start standing down, then they get more time.
Right.
So they
Sylvia,
come in.
did council ever reduce it to 1 minute?
They did at the beginning,
And-
one of the very first meetings, and it was not well received.
No, I wouldn't imagine it would be.
Right, because the council can always, which you all can do too, you can suspend the rules and say, even though it says
Okay.
30
You can
minutes.
speak as long as you want.
We can, as long as a majority of you all agree that somebody's got something important to say, or there's, a lot of people show up and think it's important to hear.
As a practical matter, I don't think we're ever going to get a huge.
Well, I would hope not.
No,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
But I mean, I'm just thinking with the ability to suspend the rules and also power to the presiding officer to set time, it seems like we could deal with this.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Yeah, we
with
could.
that, personally. Okay, and then the next thought I had, well, this is just sort of minor, but in the last paragraph, we refer to the sign-in sheet for the public outside the main conference room. Do we plan on having a table out there, or should we move it to inside the main conference room?
We can do it inside,
Let's
Yeah,
do
I
it.
think I'd have them sign up over there someplace.
Okay, and then, do you all have a recommendation, David, on the filling in the blank on that last paragraph?
No, I mean,
What's your thought on it?
even 60 minutes seems crazy. I can't
It
imagine.
does, for our purposes.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes, but I don't know that you can restrict it right now. If you have an issue where you have somebody coming in and they're passionate about an ethics problem, and you have 10 people, 15 people, you really probably need to give them 45 minutes to an hour. But how often is that going to happen?
Right.
Once in a year, if then?
Mr. Bray?
So I guess what my thoughts as I'm thinking about that is, you can see how well-attended our meetings are. I don't think it's gonna come to play.
Standing room only.
Exactly. So I don't think it's gonna come play that often. And then we, as Ms. Berth pointed out, we do have the ability to suspend rules on those occasions where it's necessary and makes sense. So
Give me a
having
number.
Do we have to have a number here? Couldn't we just word it and say the presiding officer, based on the number of people here, shall determine the length of time for public comment?
I like that.
Okay.
I do. No, because, you don't know what's going to happen. How often, Sylvia, how often have you all had complaints come before this in the last year?
and even when people show up, it's for them to.
So, yeah, I don't really.
Give me
see-
language.
How about we just omit the first
I think if
sentence?
you omit the first
Yeah.
sentence, then that just talks about the reason
God,
why
it's
it's
just too easy. Thanks, Nicole. Okay, so deleting that first sentence in the last paragraph,
And then moving the divided, however, to the
and changing outside to inside.
Yep. And then can I just point out something else that it's a carryover? and it's-
Please.
It says any citizen of the city of El Paso. And I think that's kind of, we are actually going to require them to be citizens of the city of El Paso. Is just
Where is that?
so at the very first, what's it in, section 10?
Okay,
It
oh.
says, to me, it just seems more inclusive to say
Any person?
any person or any member of the public.
Yeah, we're
What's
not
your
going to check to
preference?
see if they're citizens
Huh?
before we allow them to speak.
That's-
So that's a good
Okay,
point.
be careful, David.
Yeah. So,
Let's
so
say
any member of the public? Yeah.
And I just didn't change it on my own because it was there.
Okay. Anything else?
Where is outside being changed to inside? What section?
Right here.
So that same.
The very last one?
It's right here, the last
Got it.
last paragraph.
Thanks.
Okay. With those modifications, is there a motion?
I so move.
I second.
Any further discussion on these rules of order?
The only thing I can say is the ordinance, the ethics ordinance talks about the first meeting that takes place after the April 1st. It's supposed to be the business meeting of the commission, and at that meeting is when you're supposed to adopt rules and order and elect your office. So it should be the first council meeting that takes, April 1st meeting, so
And council has not acted on our,
not yet. But they might be able to do this for send it to the city, from the chairman saying we passed it. So, adoption of the resolution. And remember, I'll change the resolution to, folks you all asked for to say that after this point, you might. This will be the last time. And actually, the year is green now, but you might look at it, especially if you're going to do it again And this is the city council. So
Thank
if
you.
you see something else that really
Thank you.
Stands out.
stands out to you, the ethics ordinance does say
Thank you very much.
that the rules of order for the commission are supposed to be patterned after the city council. So we're on track to the way the ordinance.
Who doesn't have their green button on?
Sorry.
Every time that door opens, I go, what?
Actually, looking for another donut. There are more over here.
Wait, there's a bunch there.
Okay, presiding officer, what, is there any particular section here?
No, we just thought y'all might just want to see it as a general rule. This is the city's rules of order.
When are they gonna install the electronic?
Yeah, that's why it like doesn't apply to y'all. Unless we went down to the chambers, which we have that. So we were in conflict with Animal Services Advisory Board. They had it already. But you all are welcome to use the chambers if you like. We just pick a time that will work.
Yeah, the bottom of page 3 was the reference to
The group of 5, if you have
the
5.
representative speaker.
Right.
And if you want that in, we can put it in.
I hate to put anything in up front that takes away their right to express themselves. And if we give it to the discretion of the presiding officer, it doesn't look like we're trying to limit anybody, just make a reasonable opinion based on the number of people here, and it comes off better. I think it's more appropriate. I keep forgetting the piece of tape.
First paragraph on page 4. Is there anything we want to include in ours?
Personally, I like the idea of keeping it simple.
Okay, I agree. The old rules of order had a reference to personal attacks.
No, we didn't take anything out.
We didn't?
But we can put that in if you'd like it.
So
You're remembering it probably from seeing the city council.
Page 5 of the city
We
council?
didn't take anything out.
Yeah. Third paragraph.
So we can, that's the city council. We can put those in if you want.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a given. I think if the presiding officer, before the meeting, if we have people ready to speak, I think it could be part of the rules that are,
Welcome, the one
you
who
know,
do, but you
you can have 2 minutes, 3 minutes, no attacks. You set that out then.
Yeah, I'm
What
okay
about
with-
this final page?
Right, so that is the statement that our municipal clerk reads right before we call people to the podium to remind them.
Okay.
That's something new that Mayor Margot asked us to do. And so that's where it talks about civility and decorum and et cetera. So we could have a statement like that when people sign up, it's on the backside of the participant. We can follow this and have that ready and
Okay.
anytime anybody wants to sign up. We'll just have the recording secretary have an audience participation for this as well.
People think that's something that's necessary?
That about not making comments,
Yes, certain comments.
attacks, it could be. I was in city council where that happened repeatedly.
No, I recognize it was city council on that.
But this is, if somebody's here,
Right.
they're probably mad at somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's
Could
an
be named
ethics
Sylvia.
Never. That never happens.
Sylvia.
Or Irma.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
I definitely.
Goes without saying.
I mean, we'll probably go a year and nobody will
Well,
ever
right.
show up, you know? And
Which is a
then
good
when they do show up, they'll be 30.
What about the last,
Well, we'll be all excited because we get to admonish them.
what about the last paragraph of the city council's rules on page 5, section 12? Members of the public may be asked to move or be removed. Unlikely, but it might be better to have that provision in our rules in the event that somebody is present who is obstreperous.
If we're going to include that, then we should include the statement above it about the salon tax.
Right. I would agree.
Okay, we can add those.
Any strong desire one way or another? No, do I hear a motion to include it? If not, we'll move on.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that amendment is accepted. Okay. City attorney is our parliamentarian. Okay, so now I'll accept the motion, since it's been amended, to accept the rules of order as amended.
I so moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we've adopted our rules of order. Thank you very much to Mr. Adami and Mr. Marcus for heading up this effort to get this done, and to city staff, city attorney's office, thank you for your assistance as well.
We're going to take that.
Next item is future meeting dates. What is your, we're now really at the end of March, supposed to have our meeting of officers
In April.
in April. Do we expect the other appointments to be made in time to, or should we set the date later in April so that we give city council members, the mayor, better opportunity to choose their.
I can send them all an email reminding them that this is going to take place and do they want to make their appointments. And so maybe it is better to do it later in April.
Okay.
The last, yeah, 25th.
Yeah, the council will meet on the 3rd and the 17th of April.
So are we setting a date for our next?
Yeah, we're looking at maybe the 25th.
Of April.
Right.
That works for me.
How does that look?
Works for me.
Okay, let's go ahead and schedule our next meeting for, right,
Same time?
April
25th.
April 25th at 6 PM.
All right.
And the last item is, do you have anything?
I just wanted to ask you all, because we have the new members, and we may even have more new members. So when we prepare our agendas, do you want us to do an orientation at that time? Make that a true business meeting of the commission that would include like an orientation for all, and then the election of officers, adoption of the rules of order, and then get started like a new year with
Probably a good idea.
I think that'd be helpful.
Okay. We'll be ready for that then.
On the 25th?
Mhm.
Yeah, that works.
So it'll be a little bit longer than today, so.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to think about for that?
Bring more donuts.
I think that'll do it. I think those are the things that we generally take care of in a business meeting of the Board of Commissioners. If I think of anything else, I'll shoot you down.
We have reached agenda item number 5. Is there a motion?
I move to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 6:30 PM. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing the donuts. I didn't have one.
Well, go have one.